The suit, a universal symbol of professionalism, authority, and formality. Many of us see it this way. But what if I told you the former CEO of PayPal, Peter Thiel, a key player in the tech industry, saw it as a red flag? In his book 0 to 1, Theil describes his experience during the clean tech boom. On one side, he met hundreds of talented entrepreneurs, but on the other encountered many smooth-talking con artists as well, much like pickpockets in a market full of craftsmen. Apart from their poor technical knowledge, one of the things that was common with these people, most of them wore suits as they pitched their business ideas for funding in front of Theil. Had it been us instead of Theil, do you think we would be able to look past these smooth-talking con artists and distill it down to a single red flag like Theil did? A lot of you may want to chime in and say, oh yeah, suit wearers indeed fake it all the time. But remember, you arrived after Theil, perhaps just wanting to piggyback on an influential person. Your claim is likely coming from your fragmented experience about this topic compared to Theil's that comes from a place of experience and authenticity instead. And there is nothing uncommon about this, as a majority of us may do the same. We tend to find everything positive about a person or a brand based on one likable attribute. This is what we called the halo effect, a form of cognitive bias. The halo effect was explicitly demonstrated by Edward Thorndike for the first time in 1920. Wikipedia defines halo effect as the tendency for positive impressions of a person, company, country, brand, or product in one area to positively influence one's opinion or feelings. But why does that happen? Why do we tend to like everything about a person or brand based on one attribute alone? This is because the halo effect makes it much easier for our brain to take a shortcut and quickly come to conclusions based on one single experience. For example, someone might buy the same brand of air conditioner because they had a great experience with their television from the brand for at least last couple of years. The halo effect allows them to skip the research, ignoring factors like the company's expertise in refrigeration technology or the quality of materials used. The ease of decision in buying the AC can cost more money, as it may end up being a bad purchase. However, just like conforming to an influential person's opinion without conviction does not cost anything, getting the air conditioner repaired won't cost us anything either. Okay, maybe a small amount perhaps, but nonetheless, it will be manageable. However, the halo effect is not limited to such trivial things alone. It also influences our choice in choosing leaders and, most importantly, our work life that has far-reaching and irreversible consequences. This video shows how 9-to-5 corporate jobs employ a meticulously orchestrated halo effect, dumping them into mere wannabes who don't want to address their inauthentic life and too afraid to quit as well. In the Western context, self-realization is defined as a state of fulfillment based on one's possibilities. Simply put, living to your full potential. But most corporate jobs with their fancy titles demand nothing more than sending a few emails and attending useless meetings. No wonder 85% of workers in America are disengaged. Burdened by the feeling of inactivity, many corporate workers develop an existential crisis a few years into their careers that is hard to contain despite a great salary and other perks. This is when the corporate resorts to its cult-like practices, or shall I say, curate a giant halo effect. It does that by using a set of things like cosmetically empowering exclusive lingo, projecting the cult of charismatic leaders, rituals like loud cheering to gas up your self-respect and self-esteem, and so many other things. It is like a minefield of the 7 sins concealed under a bed of luring flowers. Even if an employee finds the ritual silly or the public acknowledgement useless, they might be mesmerized by the halo of charismatic top leadership and derive a positive image of the company and their jobs. power over praise, you see. It is ironic that the halo effect in corporate is often associated with favoritism in employee promotion or outward appearances like attire or the communication skills of an individual. But in my opinion, the most insidious form of halo effect exploited by the corporate is by manipulating employee perceptions through strategically curated experiences that unfolds every day. Even when employees realize the truth, it is hard for them to imagine ditching this safety net altogether. Their present condition of slavery has more inertia for it being familiar and clearly understood in the mind. It has a certain destination. It reaches somewhere that calms the corporate worker and makes them less anxious. On the other hand though, the idea of living a purposeful life, which they can only imagine but never accurately predict, has both happy and dangerous endings. Obviously, the one with perceived safety is going to dominate. Anytime someone thinks of leaving their 9-to-5 world, they come face to face with this fear and step back. They then try to align themselves with the inauthentic 9-to-5 life that slowly molds them to become wannabes. More so for people who have invested decades into this world, built a family, and are probably bound by a mortgage. For them, the ship of their ideal life has sailed far, far enough that it looks like a tiny speck on the horizon, leaving nothing but choppy waters that are as wide as their fear of quitting this toxic safety net. This is a meme shared by Elon Musk a few years ago. No doubt it is funny, but it also shows a dark aspect of human nature, and that is our affinity for situations, things, and tasks that keeps us engaged, even if it is violent in nature. This holds true for the corporate world as well, with the exception of literal violence, of course. There are multi-billion-dollar companies infamous for inter-department animosity and harsh criticism of ideas by their chiefs, not to mention popular app startups that allowed backstabbing between employees to achieve a high growth rate. These companies are big brand names with a blinding halo effect built on top of their growth, market cap, and so many other factors. Because wannabes are often motivated by the wrong reasons, they might hitch their identity to becoming a top performer in such situation and companies. But in the end, the company always benefits while the employees always lose. Either they lose to other employees in performance and face humiliation, or they win only to get hated and cancelled by other employees out of jealousy. And before these employee turned wannabes could sit down, apply the power of their minds, and cleave through the complexity, both sides are already prepped for the next round, ready to avenge and feel those vicious emotions once again. In effect, perpetually getting trapped into a set of self-defeating behaviors that are typical of wannabes. Now, if you're watching this video, do not assume that we are telling you to become your own boss and earn 7 figures. Remember, wannabes are phony people who are motivated by the wrong reasons that do not come from a place of awareness, meaning, or spiritual understanding. This is why the majority of these aspiring CEOs wanting to become CEOs out of trend and a need to show off their eccentricity are also wannabes. Their non-conformity is actually a form of conformity to catch on to the trend and project themselves as cool. Perhaps they are blinded by the halo effect of social media gurus flashing their extravagant lifestyle. Always remember that the idea is to look for something meaningful that does not make you feel you're wasting your life, something that gives you satisfaction, irrespective of it being mundane or imaginative. Many people may think that making YouTube videos could be imaginative and enjoyable unlike their mundane corporate job. But that is not the truth. To produce high quality videos with a certain production frequency, you need both. A framework to prepare scripts makes things mundane, hence manageable and less stressful. But at the same time, each video also needs some unique dose of creativity that mostly comes from imagination. If we flip the approach, it leads to bad output, stress, and production delays. On the other hand, the mundanity of a corporate job often hampers your personal growth. Unlike someone who is self-employed, a corporate employee turned wannabe does not have enough challenges and opportunities to expand their perspective. For most workers, engaging in futile competition and surviving in toxicity becomes the mundanity. And why not, when the mundanity of salary makes all of the bad experience temporarily go away at the end of the month? Perhaps the only thing imaginative in a corporate job for the majority of workers is corporate politics and the overall animosity. While these people may eventually conjure up the intellect to debate why the suit is not a symbol of power or authoritativeness, it is likely to come as an intellectual fact and not as a truth that is derived from living a meaningful and authentic life. Please like, share and subscribe if you loved the content.